Now we touch upon the Grenfell Towers. This is a very obscure event. It appears, on the one hand, that there was nobody in the towers, and that the media are trying to make out that there were. There's certainly enough evidence from the footage we've seen that this was deliberate, that this Grenfell Towers was set alight deliberately. There is no way that a building of that structure, of that size, with all the passageways, can be fully alight on every floor, in every dwelling in that building, within a short space of time. You'd expect if there was a fire, it would be contained within one area, say a quarter side of the building. But no, it managed to spread all around the building within a very short time. How? Some say because of the cladding. Well, okay. But even so, the cladding would have burnt from all onto the outside. But how on earth did they get into all the stairwells, into the dwellings themselves in such a short space of time? Equally, the furniture that was left behind in the ashes was what? A bit here and a bit there. Washing machine, fridge. In one part, nothing in the rest, and there's nothing around it. There's nothing of any substance. There's no tellies. Gone. There's nothing. There's nothing that indicates that dwellings were inhabited, because the white goods are not there, except in one piece of footage in one dwelling that we saw, and that was just a washing machine and what looked like a fridge, just abandoned. Normal. People can't be asked to get it. We'll get a new fridge, we'll get a new washing machine. Well, where's the rest of the picking personal stuff? Where is the TVs? Where are the wardrobes? Well, they've been burnt to ashes, but then you still get the remains. We can see the ceiling and the walls, material of the walls on the ground. It's a strange one. But I like this guy here. He comes right down and he hits the nail on the head. He is not saying that there were persons within there or they weren't in there. But he is saying what is so pigging evident, some bugger had this set up to be burnt down. Because you see, in this area, they want all the blacks and the whites out. I use that term loosely because there's no such thing as black and white. Okay? You get a tin of white paint, stick it up against yourself. Are you white? No, you're pigging not. We're light and dark shades. Now then, he's quite right, and I support him, what he actually says. Let's go on.
And as soon as I said to her, listen, you can't go to school, she said, why? I said, because there's been a fire. She looked at me and said, my God, my children, my friends are in the school, my friends are there. So she started getting to hyperventilating and all this. Look at how it affects this community. So when you say to me, what do I feel? Do you know what I mean? I feel the pain of knowing people who've died in that attack. Yesterday I was sitting down in my house with a friend of mine, and as we sat down he was saying, well, what's happened to Khadija Say? Khadija Say is this is this breaking artist. She's a black young artist, just breaking. She's at her first exhibition in Venice. What's happened to her? And she's been messaged on social media that she's alive, and that she hasn't, that she isn't, that she's unidentified, that no one knows who she is. And just as we're talking about this, we get the breaking news on the story, and they put a picture of her on the news saying that she's been one of those who've been identified as a victim. Not necessarily a friend of mine, but we'd have known her. These are people that we are acquainted with and know. Do you know what I mean? Others who would have been friends with them. Another friend I heard jumped from one of the floors. Do you know what I mean? This is the sort of story, the backdrop. Do you know what I mean? To these images that you have.
You see, speaking about images, you see, he's saying at the first that they were true, and then there's a doubt here within it.
Down here, and it's just some sort of feeding frenzy for you to sort of get a new sensational story, which you might make your career in terms of breaking this, giving a nice news report. This is a reality that people have to live here day in and day out. People know this. Do you know what I'm saying? It is not just a story. And when we look at this situation, we see that a situation which has been brewing for years. We see something whereby the residents have been complaining about it for years. We see whereby the residents have commissioned their own independent reports in terms of the health and safety, the fire risks in that building in particular, but not just that building, in terms of Silchester, Warnington. There are other issues in terms of whereby they've been trying to knock down buildings. They use the term regeneration. Do you know what I'm wrong? Now, yesterday I watched on the media whereby some government, it was either Theresa May or some government minister, stands up and tells me about lessons must be learned. Do not dismiss or think you're going to bury this community in some hollow platitude about lessons will be learned. What lessons are going to be learned? Did you learn anything from Larkin Hill in Camberwell in 2009? You learned fuck all from that. Do you understand me? So don't come to about lessons will be learned. Do not treat this community as some ignorant, low IQ community. Do you know what I'm saying? We're not going to be dismissed with hollow platitudes which you used to bury and give those who are responsible. Do you know what I'm saying? You mitigate the responsibility of those who are responsible for those decisions. This is not a case of negligence. This is a case of corporate manslaughter. People should be held accountable. People should be in jail for this. But I very much doubt we will get that with this corrupt government. If people are lucky there isn't no uprising in this country. If I had my way, I wouldn't be sitting out here talking. You'd be the first places that would be seizing. You, the media, you would be held hostage. You are the ones who facilitate this. You are the mouthpiece of this government. You are the people who make this possible. You are the ones who validate it. You are just as culpable as this government. All in together. Since Thatcher and Reagan, you've monopolised and capitalised this country. You know what I mean? It's not about money. Do you know what I mean? It's about, for them, I had one ITV newsman say, "Oh, well, look at the real estate here at Nottingham." Is that how you look at it? You see people's lives, you see people in ashes, and you're talking about real estate? You're lucky you never get lynched.
What do you want to happen now?
What do I want to happen? I want it to be a revolution in this country. I say, fuck the media, fuck the mainstream. You don't deserve to be there. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, we should be campaigning not to government, but to the BBC, who acts as mouthpieces for this corrupt government. You know what I mean? People need a revolution in this country, nothing short of that.
Absolutely.
If this was any other country, there'd have done been a revolution. We've seen how you, the mainstream media, have responded and reacted. For 2 years, you've hounded, demonised Jeremy Corbyn. And you said he was unelectable. He can't be, there's no possibility of this man being elected. And you created that narrative that people actually believe your bullshit for a while. But what this election has done is shown that people are immune. They're wearing bulletproof vests to you and the other billionaire sort of media owners and Rupert Murdoch and all those other motherfuckers. They're immune to that shit there. And that is the vote of confidence, not in terms of Jeremy Corbyn, but it dismisses May, but it also stands up to you as the mainstream media. I say you personally, but I'm identifying you as the mainstream media. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I'm saying identify as the mainstream media. You are motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You are a bunch of motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I like you too. I like you too. I like you fried, boiled, any which way I can fucking have you motherfuckers.
Jeremy Corbyn is
I think you should
I know, I'm just with him.
Yeah, okay.
I think you should interview him.
Well, I'm not going to express views. Are you,
well, no, son, take it easy.
do you have friends in the building as well?
I'm in a
Yeah.
Good on the man. Good on the man. Plain, straight, honest, truthful, forthright. Not like the sheep, cowering down, believing the big in media, fighting us that speak the truth because they don't want the truth. They don't want it. They just want a comfortable life, stuffing their pigging faces whilst the country goes to rack and ruin because of government and the media spinning that crap and killing people. And if persons were in these buildings and were killed, it's the government that big and killed them. At the end of the day. And we've seen no evidence of persons being in the buildings. They must provide evidence of persons being in the buildings. The footage that we've seen is out of context. Doesn't define that it's Grenfell Towers of persons in a building with loads of smoke. Okay? So we need evidence. If that chap was correct that there were persons in it, then the government, because it wants this area for its own elite, just like Thatcher did. Alright? Fed the elite. Sold off all the utilities. And big businesses. 2 big businesses. Now the thing about this is they want to clear this area of all the scumbags, as the government would look upon the general public in this area as being just scumbags. It don't matter. It never mattered, did it, in Operation Gladio? And who was at the top of Operation Gladio? The British picking government. In hand with the Berlin government. In hand with the US government. In hand with the Spanish government. And the Italian government. And it was the British government that pushed Operation Gladio. It formed it and it pushed it. And it was the very one that blew up the pig in tubes trains in July 2005 and that buzz in Tavistock Square. It did it through its security services. And it wouldn't surprise me if this tower didn't come bigging down as it did. Clearly it was set alight and the whole thing come down as it were burnt to ashes rather. It's still standing. Okay, all the inners burnt to ashes by the government agencies. Priming it so as to clear the area of all the unwanted people, so that this can be one posh area. They're actually, for you that are abroad, they are actually not just this area in London that they're trying to clear of all the common men to build an area that will accommodate the likes of the Russian billionaires. Okay? But there's other parts of London that they're shipping people out and bringing in the rich from abroad to purchase whole rows of houses down this road, that road, making areas sort of a Bel Air, if you like, a Hollywood area. They're clearing it all out, gradually, perceptively. They'll never do it to the East End, because that's Muslim owned. And you don't go down there, by the way, if you're tourists, don't go down there. You'll get mugged. You'll probably not come out alive if you go down the East End. It's owned by the Muslims. And so that will be the ghetto in London eventually. Okay. It's surprising, that a previous tower that this chap mentioned went up in flames 2009. Because in 1993, one of the twin towers was detonated by the CIA to try to bring it down, and coming down, they were hoping it would bring the other tower down, number 2. It didn't happen, so it took some years on for them to actually get this right, and then they did get it right in the end. And it might be that that tower that was set alight in 2009 was an experiment to see how to bring a tower down. And now they've sort of gutted this one, because they can't bring them down unless they explode them. That is enough. That man is absolutely excellent. Spot on.